Hey, I'm Drotos from KeyboardImprov.com, and welcome to day 18 of my 31-day Jazz Piano for Beginners workout challenge. Yes, the best thing we're doing is we're developing a habit, a healthy habit of showing up and just doing it and doing it and doing it and jamming in a fun way. And this is going to be a lesson in how to play at a ballad tempo, and also to revisit those earlier chord progressions we were doing, like the 1, 6, 2, 5. So when you're learning a jazz standard that's like Misty, or Here's That Rainy Day, or Polka Dots and Moonbeams, or Prelude to a Kiss, you're getting more comfortable playing those chords at a slow tempo, but also you've had some experience of playing it in a way that's not just, when you play slow, it can sometimes feel like it's the absence of something. Okay, well, I can do good swing here at that tempo, but then when I play slow, it's like the same thing but without all that fun stuff. So what can we do at a slow tempo that is bringing something to the plate? That's what I like. So I'm going to set this for 20 minutes. And the basic thing is, remember this principle I talked about at one point, minimum viable piano, MVP. So when you're at a jam session, you're not trying to bemoan the fact that you can't play some stuff you'd like to play, but you're embracing what you can play, the minimum that's going to get you by in that situation. So, for instance, if I was playing this, keeping a full jazz ballad texture. You can almost hear the drummer with the brushes going, right? Swishing them around on the snare drum. So if you were going to add to that, say by playing chords, you don't have to do all that. The minimum that's needed at that moment is to simply maybe just play the chords and even hold them, right? So you're playing as part of a larger group. It's not all on our shoulders all the time, because in our hypothetical group here, I'm doing what a drummer and bass player and maybe even a guitarist would do. So you don't have to do so much, right? And that's the real beginning, to embrace that. And then it's going to be the same thing forever. You just go in and you do what's needed and what you can do, and then at certain times you'll be able to surpass that. So we have a C major 7 chord, C, E, G, B. Let's just play that for about 4 measures, and just hold it down once each measure and get into this feel. Ready, and 1. Left hand chords. Yeah. The next chord is going to be A minor 7. A, C, E, G. It's the 6th chord, the 6th note in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brings us to A. Now, here's the thing. You can play any voicings you already know for these. But you could also play root position, because that's the minimum, but will sound good. It's viable. It's good. And we do have to spend about 2 or 3 years playing a lot of root position chords as we're learning other things. But don't forego those at the beginning stages. I get so many students, they say their former teachers wouldn't let them play root position chords anymore. That's a huge mistake, because what you need to do is get that sound in your ear of the root down there, and also train your pinky to always hit the roots, because if you're playing walking bass lines, one of your fingers will be playing that root, or if you're playing stride piano, you need to get used to what that root is and hear the root motion. So even if you're learning so-called more advanced chord voicings, stay with root position sometimes too. It's not good to leave that too soon. All right, so let's do the same thing with A minor 7th for 4 measures. Just hold it down and just let me keep the flow going. 2, 3, 4. Same thing on D minor 7th. D, F, A, C, 2, chord. Yeah, and now G7. It's either going to sound a little muddy or a little too high in root position, but that's fine for now. Getting to know it, and also you could play it in second inversion, D, F, G, B if you want. 1, 2, G7. So that's the 1, 6, 2, 5. C major 7. Let's say it out loud with me if you're just learning this. C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7. Let's say it out loud as we play them. C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7. Part of us thinks, okay, I should be able to do that once or twice and get it. Or I should be able to practice that for 5 minutes and remember it tomorrow. That might not happen. You need to do this stuff a lot. Fortunately, well, that's why we're doing this for a month, right? But fortunately, these same chords are in a lot of tunes. So if you learn them in one tune or in one video like this, you'll know it. And it will be reinforced as you go along with the tunes. All right, we're going to do it for one measure each. And just hold them down. If you want to occasionally repeat them. You're not going to be playing rhythmic, though, like we did at a swing tempo. You might be just on the beat, something like that, if you want to repeat them. 1, 2, C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7. Keep going. Did a ballad, right? Someone told me he started playing like that because in clubs when people were talking or eating and clinking their glasses, he couldn't hear the piano, so he started doing that. I don't know how true that is or not. So, what I was doing in the left hand, I don't want you to think you have to do it because this is really good. What we're trying to do is develop the habit of just moving from one chord to the next in each measure, and that will become habitual in a good way, so then you'll just be able to do it. It's challenging at first. If you want, you can, play the chord, and then sometimes I'll repeat some of the notes. I usually hold down the root, but then the others you can repeat. Or you can even play the root and then the other 3 notes, something like that. Or just the root for 2, and then the others. You can experiment with that a little bit. Matter of fact, let's experiment with that a little bit. So just the left hand, you're going to start with the root, and then play some of the other notes, one at a time, or just the others. Or you can play the whole chord, and then repeat one of the other notes, or all 3, or 2. 1, 2, it's very flexible. C major 7. A minor 7, 2, 3, 4. this feeling, that drummer. So even though I'm just playing quarter notes, it's not like boom, boom, it's like this. Boom. Each beat has this sort of swirling sound in it, in my mind, whether it's being played or not, and it comes from that drummer. All right, so let's do that in the left hand and improvise with just one note, going back to our Sidney Bechet lesson from day one. And just find how many ways we can play that one note, or even just hold it out. And I'm going to pick a G because it just works with all the chords. If I picked a C, it kind of clashes with the G7 because there's a B in there. A G works nicely for this. Could have been an A though. Could have been even a B. We'll try G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lots of space. Good. And you know, when you're playing a slow ballad like this, even a quote jazz ballad, the 8th notes aren't really swung the same way. You know, you're not going to go and play the triplets. You could sometimes, but straight 8th notes work really well. Notice how I did a triplet. So straight 8ths, bum, bum, bum. And it's the last 2 notes of a triplet. So triplets. So for me, the ballad feel in jazz is a combination of straight 8ths, triplets, and anything in between. It's very flexible. That's what distinguishes it from pop and rock. It's not that it's swung so much like a medium tempo jazz would be. And the best way is to just listen to a lot of ballads. Bill Evans playing I Loves You Porgy would be a great place to start. But you could do Blue and Green from Kind of Blue, or any jazz ballad really. All right, let's just go through this 1, 6, 2, 5 chord progression and improvise. And then after a while we can start playing different notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So depending on your previous experience, you may want to just play the right hand alone, or just keep going with those chords and start feeling it. If we spend another, 10 minutes doing just left hand chords, it's worth it because it's getting more solid for you, right? As I was playing, this is something I said early on in the month too. The F, the 4th note in the major scale, is sometimes called an avoid note. And it's a terrible term. It's not a note to avoid. It's just a note that you're going to have to resolve if you get it. Because again, Beethoven, he plays that. So for instance, if it's a C chord and you played an F, okay, you wouldn't want to linger on there. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're non-lingering notes, not avoid notes. So don't avoid them, but then you would just move up or down, like. it's the spice, right? You want some notes that aren't so in the chord, because then they can resolve to notes in the chord, and it's by ear, really. Let's keep doing this a few times. I'm just going to play an accompaniment now, so you just play those chords and the melody if you like, or improvise a melody, and let's just have fun. This is a jam session. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's trade back and forth 4 measures. You're always going to play the left hand chords. C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7. But I'll start with 4 measures of improv, and then you do the 4 measures of improv, okay? So left hand all the time, your right hand only when my right hand is not playing a melody. I'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I can't believe 20 minutes is up. You just start floating on this cloud, right, with ballads. And all of a sudden, it felt like 5 minutes or something. What? So part of this is to get you to experience the feeling of playing a jazz ballad at a level that we might not come to as when we're first getting into jazz, I'll never forget, I was playing Crystal Silence once in college in this practice room, Chick Corea's tune, and I just experienced that. It was just like this floating on a cloud, and I said, that's where I want to get with ballads. So there's different kinds of jazz ballads too. If you're playing for dancers, it might be a little faster and a little more of a swing, Billie Holiday kind of ballad, or Glenn Miller. So there's no one way, but this is a wonderful tempo for this, and it kind of comes from that maybe Bill Evans or some Duke Ellington. He even did a tune with is it called On a Turquoise Cloud? I think there's an Ellington tune called On a Turquoise Cloud. There's also Lady of the Lavender Mist. I always thought that was a great title too. So anyway, yes, we're doing it. We're establishing a virtuous cycle of showing up with a healthy habit of just getting to the piano every day or most days. It doesn't have to be for 20 minutes. It can be for 5 minutes on a busy day, or it can be for 3 hours sometimes. But it's not all or nothing. It's just coming back to it, coming back to it, coming back to it, and just playing and having fun. And then yes, other times you're working on the so-called hard stuff. So thank you. You're inspiring me with your comments and by watching this. Have a great rest of your day or evening. There's some links for you to click if you're interested, a video you may enjoy of another ballad. And I'll see you tomorrow.